The Xbox Series S is the hidden star of this current generation of consoles. While in the beginning of this gen a lot of people were skeptical about the Series S holding game development back, it turns out it is an absolute success. This little machine that is available for $299 or below runs all the games with 60 FPS in between 1080p and 1440p, and it has almost all the graphic features than its bigger brother the Series X. And now the Series S got a major update that frees up memory for developers to improve the graphical performance of the Series S even further, but also Series X owners got some updates that they can be excited about, so let's talk about this. Hello gamers from around the world, this is Boxenberger, the video game enthusiast from Germany, with a video that is focused on some exciting news around the Xbox Series S and some improvements that are also interesting for Series X owners. The GDK, the Xbox Series X and S development kit, just received a major update in order to improve the already very good performance of especially the Series S. And before we start to discuss everything, I do have a quick favor to ask. If you enjoy yourself while watching this video, it would be awesome of you to consider to hit the like and subscribe button and maybe even turn on the notification bell to not miss out on future content. Thank you guys so much for the support, you rock big time, and now let's dive into the latest Series S update. You remember at the beginning of this generation when everyone was like complaining about the second SKU, aka the Xbox Series S, that is apparently holding game development back because it does not pack the same power like the bigger brother the Xbox Series X. Well, as it turns out, the demand for such a console is incredible. Over the last year or so we have heard multiple times that the most demanded console is actually Series S. Of course, the chip shortage helps here because the yield of the little man is simply higher and availability therefore bigger, but it also turns out this Series S is an incredible value. And no big surprise here, customers love values, and the Series S runs all the current gen games at 60 FPS just like the bigger brother, some games even at 120 frames per second, it just renders them at a lower base resolution. So some games do not include certain graphical features such as ray tracing on the Series S, and some games have minor drawbacks in terms of level of detail and such. Earlier this year, Digital Foundry reported that apparently some, not all, but some developers do struggle with the lower spec Xbox Series S hardware when it comes to packing in the same graphical features and fidelity, and this has now been addressed by Microsoft in a big update for the game development kit. In the big June 2022 update that just rolled out, Microsoft addressed certain memory issues. The first is that the Series S will have more memory available for developers. They didn't say specifically how much, they just phrased it as hundreds of megabytes. Nonetheless, this is a big deal considering that the Series S only has 8 GB, and that means that hundreds of megabytes will help a lot in this regard. And apparently it was a developer request to free up more memory for the Xbox Series S. And I remember specifically when we discussed here on this channel the specs of the Series S that we are all quite happy about the specs, but yeah, 8 GB of RAM in the Series S, I can see that some games and developers have an issue with this. So good for Microsoft to address this and make even more memory available for game developers. The bigger part in this update is the next thing though. This update now gives developers more control over memory, which can improve graphics performance in memory constrained conditions. They provided developers a video explaining all the updates. I'll link the source in the description of this video down below, but to quote from that update video, "We addressed an issue where graphics virtual addresses were being allocated considerably slower than non-graphics virtual addresses." Now, what does this mean? It will allow developers to take advantage of Microsoft's recent advancements in memory management. In the lead up to the launch of the consoles, part of this was advertised as the Velocity architecture, basically a system that allows developers to address memory of the RAM, the SSD and the bus lines in between a bit more direct and in a faster way. And as it turns out, they have made a lot of improvements to that memory management, and now the Xbox Series consoles can take advantage of those advancements. To quote, "without negatively affecting graphics performance." It is very unclear to me in the source material given whether this is only affecting Xbox Series S or both consoles. Most tech sites ran with this mainly affecting Xbox Series S, but honestly though, I haven't seen any indication why this only affects Xbox Series S, so take this as my educated guess, but I think that this addressing of memory is a general thing for every system that uses the GDK. game. Okay, but I want to give my few thoughts on this. I'm personally always excited to see the improvements that Microsoft has done to the development kit, because we all know that when the consoles launched, we had the story that the tools of Microsoft were not as matured as they were on other consoles. Nevertheless, Microsoft has made significant improvements over the last almost 2 years now, and we are seeing this already. And yes, we have heard a lot of different things improve over the last year. Different drivers, technologies and updates have been introduced to bring the Xbox Series X and S to where they can actually perform as they were engineered for. More and more tech comparisons show a technological advantage in favor of the Xbox Series consoles, and it is almost obvious that some of the bigger third-party developers are now choosing willingly parity in between the consoles because the tools and drivers have matured significantly. And I get that some are getting tired of these constant reportings of drivers and technology improvements on the Xbox Series X and S when there are actually no first-party games to show them off. But I still think this is exciting because it not only affects first-party content, but every game that we can play on the Xbox. And while the wait is definitely too long for their first-party content to come in, 2023 is almost on the horizon, and that's when we'll have finally the games in our hands that we are all looking forward to. But I'm digressing. The Xbox Series S was a genius move from Microsoft. It allows especially the more casual gaming market to enter the Xbox ecosystem in a super cheap way, and in combination with Gamepass, the value that the Series S provides is unmatched. So I'm glad to see that this console now gets even more memory available and a better system for graphics, virtual addresses, because that only means that the Series S will perform even better. And once Microsoft is starting to release these current gen only games next year, it is going to be a fantastic time for all Xbox Series console owners. So definitely let me know in the comment section down below, what do you think of the latest update to the GDK, and what are your thoughts on the Xbox Series S? But for now, I hope you enjoyed this video, and if you did so, please do not forget to hit the like and subscribe button as well as the notification bell. I also want to say a big thank you to everyone who supports this channel with the channel memberships to get early access to all my videos, with the super thanks in the comment sections, and of course the super chats, and simply being there at the weekly gaming show I have here on my channel. And besides here on YouTube, you can also hit me up on Twitter, where I share a lot of opinions and gaming discussions. But for now, thank you very much for watching. I see you the next time, and game on!